Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the reason you can't make a real connection on dating apps has nothing to do with the app itself, but everything to do with how you're wired emotionally? If you've ever found yourself swiping endlessly, avoiding real conversations, or pulling away from someone you were genuinely interested in, you might be struggling with avoidant attachment. In this video, we're going to break down how avoidant attachment is silently sabotaging your chances at love, and more importantly, how to break free and start building meaningful relationships today. Let's dive in. Right now, more than ever, we are living in a world of infinite connection. And yet so many of us feel more disconnected than ever before, and it's not because we're not trying. It's because the very tools we're using, the swipes, the likes, the matches, they are amplifying something deep inside of us that we don't even realize is there. Avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment is the invisible wall. It's that little voice that says, don't get too close. It's the feeling that love is dangerous, that vulnerability is weakness, that connection will cost you your freedom. And on dating apps, that fear gets fed, it gets bigger, it gets stronger. If you don't recognize it, if you don't own it, it will own you. Today, I want to give you 3 simple but powerful shifts that can break you free to open the door to the love, the connection, the life you were meant to have. When you open a dating app, what's the first thing you notice? It's not real faces, it's not souls, it's not energy, it's options, endless options, swipe left, swipe right, super like, boost, match, unmatch. It's an ocean of faces and none of them seem real after a while. You're not connecting. You're consuming, and let me tell you right now, the human heart was not designed to treat people like products, but that's exactly what happens when we let ourselves fall into the hypnotic rhythm of swipe, swipe, swipe. Avoidant attachment loves this. It thrives in this environment because every new match you reject without thinking is another little confirmation. See, nobody's good enough. You don't have to open your heart. You don't have to risk anything. It's safe, it's easy, and it's completely devastating to your ability to connect deeply. If you're living in avoidant patterns, the apps become your shield, your permission slip to stay distant, to stay cool, to stay uninvested, and the worst part, you don't even realize you're doing it. It feels normal, it feels smart, it feels like you're protecting yourself. But what you're actually doing is building bigger walls. You're choosing to collect people instead of connecting with them. You have to break this pattern. You have to slow the machine down, because if you don't, you'll keep feeding the part of yourself that believes love is dangerous, that people are disposable, and that nobody could ever really meet you where you are. That's not truth, that's trauma talking. That's the pain of your past pretending to be wisdom. And every time you give in to it, every mindless swipe, every instant dismissal, you move further away from the love you say you want. You have to make a conscious shift from swiping for stimulation to connecting for transformation. That means when you pick up your phone, you do it with a different energy. You don't swipe through people like channels on a TV. You take a breath, you slow down, you look deeper, you send one meaningful message, you open a real conversation, you ask a real question, not but something that actually creates an opening, something like, what's lighting you up in your life right now? Something that calls forth authenticity, because connection, real, breathtaking, heart-shaking connection only happens when you are willing to stop hunting and start seeing. You must decide that one deep connection matters more than 100 shallow distractions, otherwise you're not dating. You're just ghosting yourself. Avoidant attachment doesn't scream at you, it whispers, it's subtle. It shows up as the sudden urge to wait before replying. It disguises itself as I'm just being chill, or I don't want to look desperate. But what's really happening is fear, raw, unprocessed fear. Running the show from behind the scenes, fear of being seen, fear of needing someone, fear of being vulnerable and getting hurt. And here's the truth. Every time you hesitate, every time you delay, every time you second, guess reaching out, you're handing your power over to that fear. Modern dating apps make this so easy. You match with someone who sparks your interest. You feel that little buzz of excitement. Then, nothing. Hours pass, days pass. You tell yourself, I'll message later when I feel more confident. But later never comes. Why? Because avoidant attachment isn't cured by time, it's only cured by action. Waiting doesn't dissolve the fear. Waiting feeds it. It grows in the silence. It gets louder in the delay. And eventually the opportunity fades, the connection evaporates, and you tell yourself some story about how it wasn't meant to be, when deep down it was fear that pulled you out of the game. The breakthrough comes when you recognize that feeling of hesitation as your greatest signal for growth, that tightening in your chest, that sudden urge to distract yourself with work, with Netflix, with another round of swiping. That's not a stop sign. That's a green light. That's life daring you to step forward. That's the moment you lean in, because here's the reality. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Readiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you create by moving through the fear. Every time you send the message when it's uncomfortable, every time you express interest when you're scared, every time you act instead of retreating, you are rewiring your nervous system to believe it's safe to connect. It's safe to be seen. It's safe to love. The people who find extraordinary connection are not the people who never feel fear. They're the people who feel it and move anyway. That's the difference between a life of shallow interactions and a life of real intimacy. The next time you match with someone who intrigues you, don't wait, don't strategize, don't try to play it cool. Message them right there. Tell them what made you swipe right. Ask them a real question. Take a real chance, because every second you spend in hesitation is a second you spend building the wall higher around your own heart. And that's not the life you were built for. You were made for connection, not for excuses. Modern dating apps have tricked us into thinking that the best way to find love is to sell ourselves. Create the perfect profile, choose the perfect photos, write the wittiest bio, highlight your hobbies, show off your travels, market yourself like a product on a shelf. But let me tell you something powerful. You are not a brand. You are a human being, a living, breathing soul with messy, beautiful layers. Love isn't something you market. Love is something you live, something you share, something you build with another person over time. Avoidant attachment loves the profile version of you. It loves the distance, the polish, the controlled image. It loves when you get to show just enough to intrigue someone but never enough to truly be vulnerable. Because as long as you're hiding behind a profile, you're safe, you're untouchable, you're never really exposed. But if you want real connection, the kind that lights you up, the kind that changes your life, you have to be willing to step out from behind the screen, to stop curating and start connecting. Real relationships aren't pretty little highlight reels. They're raw, imperfect, alive. They're built on conversations where you don't have the perfect answer. They're built in the moments when you say the vulnerable thing and you don't know how it'll land. They're built when you show up, flaws and all, and let someone see the real you. The goofy laugh, the nervous fidgeting, the moments you feel unsure. That's what creates trust. That's what creates intimacy. Not a polished paragraph in a profile, but presence in the moment. You have to ask yourself, are you trying to impress people or are you trying to connect with them? Because if your goal is connection, then perfection is your enemy. People don't fall in love with perfect. They fall in love with real. They fall in love with the way you light up when you talk about your passions. They fall in love with the little quirks you think you need to hide. They fall in love with your aliveness, not your marketing campaign. When you show up authentically, you stop treating people like judges who need to be convinced. You start treating them like fellow travelers, fellow souls looking for something real. You meet heart to heart, not profile to profile. You build something based on truth, not performance. And when you do that, you don't just find connection, you build the kind of love that no algorithm can manufacture, no app can promise, and no fear can destroy. Because real love doesn't want your resume, it wants you, and the only thing standing between you, that kind of love, is the courage to be seen. We live in an extraordinary time. We have more tools to connect than ever before in human history, and yet, so many of us are trapped behind walls of fear we didn't even know we built. Avoidant attachment is not some minor inconvenience. It is the silent thief of our deepest dreams for intimacy, partnership, and belonging. It disguises itself as strength. It whispers that needing someone makes you weak. It tricks you into believing that distancing yourself is the way to stay in control. But what it's really doing is keeping you from the most vibrant, meaningful experiences life has to offer, and if you don't confront it, if you don't face it head on, it will quietly sabotage every swipe, every date, every chance you get to love fully. The truth is, it's not about the apps, it's not about the algorithms, it's not about the endless choices. It's about the relationship you have with your own vulnerability. Until you heal the part of you that fears being seen, no number of matches will ever satisfy you. You'll just keep chasing, scrolling, moving, and never actually arriving. But the moment you choose courage over comfort, the moment you decide that real connection is worth the risk, everything begins to change. You stop seeing people as threats. You stop seeing vulnerability as danger. You start seeing it as the bridge, the only bridge to the love you were built to experience. And that bridge is built moment by moment, choice by choice. It's built when you slow down and seek real connection instead of endless stimulation. It's built when you feel the fear rise up inside you, and instead of pulling back, you lean forward. It's built when you stop presenting a polished profile to be admired and start showing up with your raw, authentic self to be truly known. It's built through action, not through waiting, through showing up messy, not pretending to be perfect, through deciding over and over again that connection matters more than comfort. You are not broken because you have walls. You are human. We all have scars. We all carry wounds. But your past pain does not have to be your future story. You have the power right now to choose differently, to show up differently, to build a love that is stronger than fear. That choice doesn't live in tomorrow or next week or once you've figured it all out. It lives in the next conversation you have. It lives in the next moment you decide to open your heart instead of hiding it. So I challenge you, no, I dare you to live differently, to love differently, to be the one who breaks the pattern, to be the one who says no more hiding, no more running, no more waiting for permission to live fully. You don't need another app. You don't need another swipe. You don't need to be more perfect. You just need to be more present. Love is waiting for you on the other side of your fear. All you have to do is cross the bridge. Thank you for being here today, for showing up not just with your ears open, but with your hearts open.